All right, so we're going to start at the opening of the Raw after SummerSlam 2022. Rollins comes out and begins to brag about injuring Riddle. Riddle comes out and stands on the stage, and they start jawing back and forth. Rollins says Riddle will never beat him because this is pro wrestling, not combat sports. And Riddle should head back where pure combat serves him best, because Riddle is a former MMA fighter.
Correct.
Suddenly, we hear this. Out comes the Blackpool Combat Club. Out comes Regal, Bryan, Claudio, and Yuta. And they stand next to Riddle. Regal says it's time someone brought some manners and respect to the WWE. They aren't here because they're invading or think they're elite, but because they want to fight. Starting with the man behind you. Rollins turns and Moxley hits a paradigm shift, then immediately leaves through the crowd. Without saying a word. On the following SmackDown, the Bloodline is talking about how McIntyre barely beat Sheamus, so he has no chance against Roman. As they go on, McIntyre comes out and starts heading to the ring with his sword. But before he gets there, BCC hops over the barricades and into the ring, jumping the Bloodline. In the end, they throw Reigns to Moxley, who hits a paradigm shift and leaves. Moving forward, Rollins is going to keep fighting Riddle, and Reigns will deal with McIntyre, as they're going to. So we'll keep them on separate shows, and Combat Club is still going to continue to assault everybody on AEW as they are. At Clash at the Castle, Reigns beats McIntyre, and Rollins beats Riddle in a TLC match. The show goes off the air with Reigns saying he has an offer for Rollins. The next night is All Out in Chicago. Moxley's going to issue an open challenge for the interim AEW title in the main event. So he's waiting in the ring, and we hear... It's in Chicago. So we get a surprise unification match. They're going to go about 30 minutes, and both end up a bloody mess at the end. Both dragging each other to their feet. Punk goes for the GTS, but Moxley blocks the knee and swings it into a paradigm shift. 1, 2, 3. Moxley is officially AEW champion. He begins to celebrate as Punk rolls out, but out of the crowd comes the Bloodline and Rollins. They assault Moxley, finally triple powerbombing him through the announce table. BCC comes running out, but the WWE stars run away back through the crowd.
Cowards.
They stand at... They're all heels.
Okay.
They stand at the top of the aisleway with the spotlight on them. Mm-hmm. William Regal grabs a mic. And he says, Extreme Rules. War Games! The show goes off the air. Sure enough, at Extreme Rules, we get a 4-on-4 War Games match between C and the Bloodline and Seth Rollins. The match is a car crash, as expected, and ends with one of the Usos pinning Yuta. Now they'll go back to their shows for a while, refocusing on defending their own titles, and Rollins dealing with a returning Randy Orton. At Crown Jewel, Reigns beats Goldberg in a retirement match, and Goldberg stops wrestling forever.
Well, that's just for me.
Yes, that is just for you.
Hey, thank you.
You're welcome. Rollins beats Orton in the opening match and sets his sights on the Royal Rumble. Triple H says that he's concerned with the threats from those rejects from that pissant company and wants his boys to take care of it. So he goes to AEW live on Dynamite, meets with Tony Khan in the ring, and signs a contract for Survivor Series.
Oh, my God, yes.
Yes.
It'll be the Bloodline, Rollins, and Cody Rhodes versus Blackpool Combat Club and CM Punk. The eliminations go like this. Cody and Punk eliminate each other by knocking each other out.
Fair.
Jimmy pins Yuta. Bryan submits Jimmy. Claudio pins Jay, Rollins pins Claudio, and Roman pins Bryan. The match ends in a three-way knockout of Reigns, Rollins, and Moxley. So we jump to the Royal Rumble, where we see Reigns defend and retain against Brock.
Again.
Rollins enters the Rumble at 29 and quickly clears a lot of the ring. Just prepping. He stands alone as the countdown goes down. It hits 0. Here comes John Moxley, complete with Justin Roberts coming out of the crowd and doing the intro.
As it should be.
They go to war and beat the hell out of each other. Moxley clotheslines Rollins out of the ring and barely hangs onto the top rope to stay in. Moxley wins the Royal Rumble. Triple H is furious with Rollins for not winning, and Rollins says if he's really scared about losing the title at Mania, put him in the match. Hunter questions whether he deserves it, so Rollins says, let me go there. Meanwhile, Moxley and BCC celebrate the win and say they're taking over the wrestling world. They continue to win matches and dominate, but Claudio begins to say he's the best wrestler in the world and holds the most prestigious belt in the world. By February, BCC has had enough of him, and on the last Rampage of February, they turn on him. Moxley says he's taking the ROH title at Revolution in March. And he does.
Oh, boy.
Moxley pins Claudio in the main event unification match for the AEW and ROH titles at Revolution. He is now the king of AEW. But after the win, Rollins shows up and gives the stomp to Moxley. Next week on Dynamite, Moxley and Rollins face off in the main event. If Rollins wins, he joins the title match at Mania. Rollins is getting beat down and barely kicks out of the paradigm shift. Suddenly, Reigns' music hits and distracts Moxley and the ref. Rollins kicks Moxley down low and hits the stomp. He pins Moxley and joins the main event. So, finally, we have the WrestleMania 39 Night 2 main event, Reigns versus Rollins versus Moxley for the WWE, Universal, AEW, and ROH World Championships.
Versus Bryan Danielson.
Oh, and it's a 60-minute Iron Man match. And they're going to damn near kill each other.
Oh, man.
We're going to have blood and sweat everywhere. This is TV 14.
That's all pay-per-view should.
Yes, we'll keep it close and have a lot of near falls and breakups. The guys each pair up to attack the third at least once, and Rollins and Moxley knock Heyman out of the match. The Usos attempt to interfere, but BCC fends them off and they fight into the back. At the end, the three stand toe-to-toe with each other, bleeding and exhausted. Reigns attempts a spear and misses. Rollins tries to hit a stomp, but misses. Moxley seizes the opportunity and grabs them both for a double paradigm shift, pinning Rollins as the clock hits 0. John Moxley wins.
Ooh.
And now we move forward.